Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Matt and welcome to today's live session of the eSellerCafe News Roundup for the past week. So these are going to be the stories which affect you and your business either today, tomorrow, or sometime in the future. And today I'm joined by Dave Furness, who's in Manchester again today, I believe.
I am indeed still in Manchester, just a slightly different setting.
Indeed. And Richard, again, you're taking the international team of eSellerCafe to a whole new limit. Which airport are you in today?
Well, the airport code is YYZ, and that's Toronto, Canada. See, and I'm not making this up. Just so everybody can see, I'm really at an airport.
Really at the airport. So do keep this in the back of your mind. We are broadcasting live. We are in 3 different locations. One of us is actually in an airport lounge right now. So what are the topics which we picked up for you this week? And we will be discussing these in more detail, of course, in the video description underneath this video. If you click on show more, links to each of these articles are included in there. So on the list, we'll be taking a look at Amazon VAT services, which are going to come soon to EU sellers. Samsung and Alibaba develop smart speakers to rival the Amazon Echo. And actually, I'm going to question whether they're going to actually rival it in a few moments' time. More eBay millionaires for the UK and EU. That's a nice little growth story there as far as eBay goes. We'll be looking at the success of the Amazon Prime Day 2017 with the top selling products. That's a little feature by Dave. PayPal introduces, and this is a curious one because I'm very curious how they're actually going to implement this, or how they are actually implementing this, a global sellers service, which includes website translation in under a week as well. Alibaba launches a network for US sellers on Taobao as well, global. That's going to be a curious one too. And also festivals, Maker Festival on Taobao as well. So we'll quiz Richard over that one. And a big one this week as well. eBay, let me get this right. Shopify have announced, in combination with eBay, an integration. And it doesn't look like a half-baked one integration either. It looks like it's going to be pretty deep. So we'll be covering that one at the end of today's live session. So with that said, who's first up here this morning? Dave, Amazon, UK with VAT services. What is this about and how does it impact us, and why would we be even interested in Amazon services?
Absolutely. And this is a curious one because it sort of plays into the main thing, which again, as small business owners, if you've not got a financial background, if you're not big on the whole maths thing, remember, accountancy is probably not the best thing of your, best use of your time to be worrying about. However, when you're selling online and you've got lots of VAT, laws and legislations on which you have to adhere to, it can be time consuming and quite scary. Now, what Amazon have done is announced that Amazon VAT services is coming soon to EU sellers. So Amazon is actually setting up a service where I think it's for £400 per account or something per marketplace. They will look after all of your sort of VAT responsibilities. So I think you have to do like quarterly filings, your end of year and all that sort of stuff. Amazon will actually do that for you for this nominal fee. And that is, again, if it's powered by a company called Avalara, I believe, who are VAT experts in Europe. And it's just one of those weird ones. I can see the need for it, again, for the small to medium business guys, who are just maybe crossing these VAT thresholds. The one downside for me is, like, if you wanted to do all of your VAT returns for a number of channels, number of marketplaces, you're then going to be giving Amazon your other sales data, which is a little bit of a, would you really do that? Bearing in mind, Amazon is a competitor of yours, regardless of what you think or say. They are a competitor. So it's a curious one. That I think there is a niche. I mean, obviously, Matt, we know Capri over at Cross Border VAT, who again is answering a very similar problem for a lot of sellers. The VAT rules can be confusing, especially when doing cross border.
Absolutely. We know how much Repeat, and those of you which don't know the story about that, is that Repeat is a medium-sized business owner, and how much did he save on it when he after correct?
He got a VAT return of over 80,000, I believe, £80,000. He'd overpaid in VAT.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
You mean a government agency send money back? They didn't find a reason to keep it.
Yeah, if you can prove that, which is why Gurpreet has gone and built this software, is to say I've overpaid you, and this is how much by, and this is how I know this. Then yeah, they do. They give it you back.
They do.
You make an interesting point about Amazon knowing all your information. I wonder, at least it might help some people to get going. If the first year or two. Once you're up and running and you start making some real numbers, maybe that's the time when you talk to your accountants
so you get a proper accountant on board. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think this is very much aimed at the smaller guys, for sure, to make sure they're playing by the rules.
Okay, but Dave, I do feel that you're fair and you're right to bring up the topic and to make the point that Amazon can be seen as a competitor in more ways than one. Yeah. Passing them too much information could be detrimental to the business. But obviously, if you're just starting out, they're probably not even going to notice you. And you'll again, so valid points all around. Okay, moving on. Dave, Samsung and Alibaba develop smart speakers to rival the Amazon Echo. Now, I don't see this happening. Brutally honest, from a personal point of view, am I wrong?
No, absolutely not. You're spot on. I believe Richard is going to be of the same opinion that we are. And the same with the Apple HomePod. It's an also-ran product. It's someone else who has to enter the market and feel like we've got a smart speaker as well. The thing is, what is Samsung realistically going to bring to the market, which Google and Amazon haven't already covered? Currently their assistant Bixby, is it called Bixby, whatever it is? It's only working in Korean. So, I mean, that's a limitation for the Western world, or pretty much for anyone outside of Korea. It's a long way away from having the functionality that Amazon does and that Google does. And the same with Alibaba. I mean, Alibaba's slightly different. They might have it might make sense for Alibaba in the Eastern market. Absolutely. That Alibaba are the Amazon of the East, and they have the adoption, they have the user base. They could very well have a smart speaker that makes sense in China, in Japan, in that part of the world. In the UK, in Europe, and America, not a chance. Amazon and Google all the way. I mean, again, we're coming on to Prime Day in a minute. Amazon shifted a ton of Amazon Echoes again. I'm sure they've enhanced their lead in the in the market share of smart speakers. I honestly, there's just going to be also-ran products in the West. Amazon have had too much of a head start. Google's Google. They'll just you can't argue with. Again, Amazon have a fantastic ecosystem. Google have a fantastic ecosystem. Samsung uses the Google ecosystem. I'm not sure what really they have unique or what they're going to bring to the space. So
it's a curious one. I just want to go off topic there, Dave, because if you boil Google down to what the company actually does, where they gain the vast amount of revenue, is advertising.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter if you see a Google car or some other project. It's great that they're doing projects like that, but ultimately, Google, for all intents and purposes, is an ad generation service. I don't see how well this is going to work long term unless they can actually monetize this. Now, they have proven that they have a stomach to do the long term on stuff and make money over a long period of time. But it does kind of feel that there's just kind of jumping on the bandwagon.
My 2 points here would be that Alibaba is definitely going to be aimed at the Chinese market. I don't see that really spreading past Asia. There, it makes a lot of sense with Taobao, as we will talk about later anyway. So it's just part of the whole social experience there. Now, the Samsung one, the one twist I will throw in there is it will not make sense for shopping, but Samsung has a tremendous amount of Samsung stuff, from dishwashers to ovens to TVs to whatever else in the marketplace. So from a smart home point of view, I think it's something they can connect. And so I don't see the Samsung one being a e-commerce related one, but I do see it as a smart home device because they have quite a bit of equipment that does go into your home. And I mean, I'm doing this on the Samsung phones. So Samsung has become like the new Sony, if you think about it. And when I grew up, Sony was
they were the name. Yeah.
So that would be my one caveat about the Samsung device. That's
a very good point, actually. One that I've not thought about. But again, I can't help but get past the fact that yes, Samsung could do that with their own. But what about the people who are using Hotpoint or Zanussi or Google? Just screams like the main place that you'd want to integrate. And I understand Matt's point about Google being an ad platform. I think Google is also a huge data platform. That's they're able to make money with ads due to the amount of data that they have. All of a sudden, if they've got smart devices, telling Google what they're looking for, what they want to buy, all of a sudden this data is just fantastic for search, for voice search, and who knows what else, voice commerce. I think Google's just utilized this as a new tool to
I tell you what, gents, we're talking about a subject here which is still very, very new, and that's one thing which you're going to find out here in these eSellerCafe news roundups, is that sometimes the stuff which you're looking at is future based. This is definitely one of those topics which is going to take a long time to come to fruition and is going to impact you as a business owner directly.
It does feel like we talk about smart speakers nearly every week.
Yeah, indeed. But it's one of those topics which is going to be on the boil. It's going to be on the boil for a long period of time while things get ready. Now, let's change tact and move to a topic which is maybe a little bit more personal, but a little bit more here and now. eBay Millionaires, Dave, more coming from the UK in EU. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. This, I guess, shouldn't really come as too much of a surprise. Over the past, few years, eBay have seen a huge growth in those businesses which started off as hobbyists, moved into small-time businesses, and have then since moved into being £1 million businesses, which is a huge feat. And it's Millionaire sellers has grown by nearly 50% in the past 4 years. It's a huge number, and this is predominantly in the UK and Germany, which are by far the biggest eBay marketplaces in Europe. Germany's Millionaires have grown from 731 to just nearly 1,100, and UK has gone from 443 up to 663. So again, they're seeing up to 30% increase in revenue by these small sellers, and it just shows the opportunity that exists on eBay right now. And I think the interesting one for me, Matt, and I sent this to you both earlier, is I was researching some stats for an ebook that will be coming out soon, an updated version of an ebook which we did a while ago. And back in the year 2014, we commented how in the UK on ebay.co.uk, eBay's monthly searches were around 20 million unique visitors a month. Now in 2017, that's upwards of 57 million unique visitors a month. It's a huge growth in 3 years. It's nearly 3x growth in 3 years. It's quite a substantial amount, and it stands to reason that you've got more buyers, you've got more sellers, but ultimately with more people buying things, especially on the eBay platform where they're only buying from third-party sellers. eBay are not a retailer. That money is getting spent onto sellers, and ultimately you're seeing this rise in sellers and this rise of millionaire sellers, the ones who get it and the ones who do a good job. It's fascinating to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard, any comments on that one before we move on to the next one?
No, I just think the fact that probably really begs the question on marketplace is the future, period. Is that where all the business is going, especially for small sellers? The traffic is improving or it's going there. So it's something to maybe look at from that point of view. It's just so easy nowadays. The tools are so much better to get on eBay and Amazon than it is to start up something on your own.
Yeah, absolutely. And tools have become. So I'm an old school eBay seller. I started selling on eBay like 12 years ago, and I can tell you, the tools have got an awful lot better. Okay, next topic. The results from Amazon Prime Day. Dave, what do we know about what sold, what did well?
Again, as expected, been a huge success for Amazon on Prime Day. Obviously going to do it again next year. When you see results, they saw a 60% increase in sales on Prime Day last year. That's a huge number. 60%. You know, Prime Day was big last year.
And Dave, don't forget, they pushed the advertising hard on it.
Yeah, I mean,
every single YouTube video which had adverts enabled on it, it was like, oh, don't forget about Amazon Prime Day, and that woman's voice going in the background.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was very clever as well, because they did very much targeted ads in the form of, if you were on Monday, the ads were like, don't forget tomorrow is Amazon Prime Day. And then on Tuesday, it was today is Amazon Prime Day. They were very, very good with that message, and, you know, must have ran several ads targeted for different days. They did it.
And they're very good about post sale too, because I happened to buy something on Prime Day, not because it was Prime Day, but just because I needed something. And I got
such a Prime Day fanboy, Richard.
Yeah, that's it. I'm a Prime Day fanboy. I'm sitting in my hotel. I need to order this cat food, you know, go home. Anyways, I got the emails like, your Prime Day package will be delivered. So they followed it up with days after the fact. Everything was then Prime Day till the thing showed up. So they did pre and post. You know? Yeah,
fantastic marketing from Amazon. But I mean, we've come to expect nothing less, really. But I mean, even on traditional TV as well, I was seeing like primetime TV adverts. I don't really watch TV, but it was on, and like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, Amazon adverts, which I know is the most expensive slot on the normal channels. They definitely threw some marketing budget at them.
So what did well then?
So, I mean, Echo Dot was by far the biggest thing. Again, it's the smart speaker, it's the cheap one, it's the little one. That and the Echo itself did fantastically well. I mean, back on Black Friday, I think the Echo in the UK traditionally is around $149.99. On Black Friday, November, it was down to 100. Prime Day, it was down to $79.99. It's the cheapest it has ever been. And there's a few reasons for that. Obviously, the tech is getting older. We've got the Amazon Echo Look coming out soon, which I'm not really on board with, but, you know, it's the new version. So, again, the cheaper they get, the more they're going to sell of them. Also, Amazon Fire tablets, Amazon TV sticks, again, did very well. The Kindles. And also in America, the 55-inch Element Smart LED TV, which I believe Amazon worked with in development and is heavily integrated with the Amazon compatibility. So again, those Amazon products sold fantastically well, largely, I imagine, due to them having the ability to discount heavily. And it's interesting to see some of the...
You know, they don't even have any of their own brands yet really spooled up, like the clothing brands and stuff. Just imagine that by next year when they start having those brands really fully running, they're going to have so much to throw out there to make that day even bigger for them. You know, I know everybody, eBay was jumping on board, Best Buy here was jumping on board, you know. Yeah, it's good to jump on board, but at the end of the day, Amazon has created a holiday. You know, it's like an unofficial.
And they control it.
And they control it. You know, we say the Super Bowl here is an unofficial holiday. You know, they've managed to do this in 3 years. You know, to create
it's incredible. And so when you're seeing 60% year-on-year growth, it's scary. And the other interesting fact was Amazon on Prime Day saw more Prime membership subscribers on that day than any other day in history. So again, just a huge win for them. They're getting more subscribers into the Amazon ecosystem, using instant video, using music, using Kindle, whatever it is. It's only going to increase Amazon. You know, it's the domination of Amazon. You know, it continues, and with things like Prime Day, they suck people in, and they realize how good Amazon Prime is that they're never going to leave. And it's fascinating. And quickly, Matt, to go on to some of the products sold around the world. Richard said about the sort of Amazon's own brand. The second largest selling product in Canada, I believe, was Amazon batteries. Amazon obviously do their own white label batteries. They sold fantastically well. In the UK, there was a TP-Link Wi-Fi smart plug, which just so happened to be very compatible with Alexa and the Amazon Echo. So again, makes perfect sense. In the US, it was an instant pot pressure cooker, 7-in-1 programmable thing. I have no idea what one of them is, but apparently it's very popular. In Japan, whey protein was the biggest seller. Who knew they were so much into their bodybuilding and fitness and stuff? So it really was a mishmash. And around sort of Europe, Germany, Austria, Belgium, Netherlands, we saw huge uptake on PlayStation 4 memberships. There were some promotions on those. And PlayStations as well.
Did the smart lederhosen work well?
Make this your last beer. Yeah, the waistband is getting too tight. I think that might be one for next year.
Right, quickly moving on. So those of you who have just been enjoying this live, this is a weekly roundup from eSellerCafe.com, or links to all the articles which we're covering here live with you. And do be aware that we are in 3 different locations across the globe. Well, 2 of us are in the United Kingdom. 1 of us is an airport right now, as we can see Richard there in the background. He is in live from an airport here, and we do host these every single Monday at exactly the same time. Links to all the articles and the topics which we've been picked out for you for this week are down in the video description. Now, with that said, Richard, moving on, PayPal introduces global seller service. Now, this looks pretty cool. What do you think?
Yeah, I was came a little bit out of the blue. They announced that they are basically going to translate your website into up to 55 languages, set up a domestic currency payments. I mean, do all the work for the bottom basement price of 0. So that's free. You know, how can you not do this if it's free? So they're basically going to take your website, translate it, set up, special URLs, and make it as local as possible. And as long as you take PayPal, and they had some use studies that are in the article. I mean, one company, 76% increase in sales in 6 weeks. Stunning numbers. So I would say it's right now they're launching it in the US, UK, and Germany. If you have a website, you ought to try it. I mean, this is very, very interesting, and I think it's a great way for them to promote globalization. Let's use that word. And they also have, and I didn't see that because I think I was going to try to sign up to see how far you can get and what they all exactly offer. But they're also looks like they're going to offer some kind of discount on shipping with the shipping carriers. So it's not that you ship locally and then they take it over. It appears to be that you do your own international shipping. It's definitely an easy way for anybody that has been thinking about going global. It's like, this, that, and all the other reasons. Here we go. They've taken all the main reasons off the table. Translation, local currency, shipping, and they're doing it for free.
So it sounds like a no-brainer to have a look, in short. So if you are a small to medium-sized business owner and you want some free localization done by PayPal, by the looks of it, the only caveat is that you need to accept PayPal on your website. Underneath this video, click on the show more link, go and look in there for the links, eSellerCafe.com/PayPal-introduces global seller service. The link's in the video description. Go and take a closer look. It's free and it could provide an uplift to your e-commerce business. So that's one which you can action right now. So this does bring in this really nicely because we were chatting about the speaker, which is a future thing. We spoke about the Millionaires on eBay, which is actually a past tense thing that's already been and happened. This one is a now one. You can walk away and action this one right now for your business. And by the looks of it, let PayPal do the hard work for you.
Actually, on that one, Matt, we have Mike in the live chat who's saying that he thinks they're doing this with Web Interpret, who, of course, we know, as he had them call up offering him this. And he knows this because Web Interpret actually did his eBay localization, and it's free for a period, but unspecified. So, Mike, thank you so much for some clarification on that one. Web Interpret, great company. And yeah, would make, but they are the translation experts. It would make sense if PayPal have partnered with them. on that one.
Yeah, PayPal is using Web Interpret, but as far as the PayPal is saying, if you go through their system, their web page that's now a link, there's nothing about a time frame. Remember, PayPal is looking to make money from the revenue.
Of course, yeah.
You know, so for them, they're probably gonna end up paying, Web Interpret some fee for the translation and front load it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, I'm just here looking at something in the background. Apologies for that. Now, Richard, Alibaba launches network for US sellers onto Taobao.
Yeah, they are basically extending from Gateway 17 in Detroit in June the ability to connect with us dealers or distributors in China that are already on the Taobao network that can help you promote your products there. What I found a bit strange is there was no sign-up page or no direct link. So I put in the story, if you are a small business and you're looking to go to China and you want some help, call Alibaba in California, because on Alibaba's own press release, they didn't really say how to contact them. Clearly, obviously, if you went to Gateway 17, a lot of those distributors were there, but that's sort of a little bit the missing link here. I mean, the idea is good. It's a good way to work with somebody that knows the local customs, understands how to market your product, is used to dealing with U.S. or Western sellers. So you're going to give up margin for sure doing it this way, but it's a way into the market. It's a way to test the market. So yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. I just wish that they would have provided a little bit more easier, friendly, how to get going with this, because they just didn't.
Yeah, we've had this conversation about the Taobao site. Is that I've tried using it as a consumer. It's nigh on impossible coming from the UK into their global site, and the English on it is absolutely horrific. So let's hope they improve it. Again, am I correct that the government are pushing this as well?
The government? No, there's no. I mean, Jack Ma in the United States has said he wants to build, he wants to create 1 million jobs by, and obviously Trump jumped on the bandwagon, but it's not the same type of job creation that as typically people think of, so, but anyway.
All right, what's this about a maker festival as well on Alibaba?
That to me was really fascinating. They did a 5-day festival where they invited young entrepreneurs, mostly under 30, to show off products for, young millennials or Generation Zers. And it was all around with music, social engagement. I mean, everything that really attracts to the younger audience. And they did demos. I mean, it was really a cool way to introduce products and at the same time make people aware of some new technologies that Taobao has and grow that marketplace. And it begged the question to me, and I come from an automotive industry, and about in the early 80s in California, the Japanese Americans, are buying the Japanese cars. They started doing little car shows. Before that was always the muscle car, the Mustang, the Camaro, the Corvette. Well, they did it with their Hondas and their Nissans and the Toyotas, and they would modify them. Well, over time, it became more and more popular, and so a company popped up called Hot Import Nights, and they created a fashion lifestyle show out of showing up cars and with music, DJs, blah, 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 blah. So I see the same trend here. You're to attract the younger audience, you need something with a short attention span, and you wrap it around lots of audio visual, and you move from there. So it seems to me that this is kind of going that direction. So that begs the question, if Taobao, Alibaba is doing this in China, will this come to the United States, to Canada, or Europe? And who's going to bring it here? Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be I don't know, Snapchat or one of the other social media platforms? Or is, I can't see Amazon doing it. That's just too left field for them. eBay, I don't know. Alibaba could set up Taobao here in the US, yeah, but then have to market that. So I'm just saying I thought it was very fascinating. I think there's definitely a view into the future here. My question is, who's going to do it here? We've been looking at this Facebook e-commerce thing for how many years now?
Exactly. So that's a prime example of something which is churning over and has yet to gain traction.
Yeah.
Now, gents, let's move on to the big E. And I already know the angle which I'm going to take on this one, and I'm not too sure about Richard and Dave, and I can see that they've both been and unmuted themselves in preparation, which is
ready to go.
Yeah. This is an exciting one, yeah.
Which is eBay have been announced a deep integration with Shopify. So, Richard, can you tell us more about this? Because it's not just you might get a listing onto eBay. Looks like they've gone a little bit deeper. And yeah, tell us more.
So let's start with the facts. What they've done is they have created a really deep integration.
Oh, have we lost Richard?
And at that second, Richard.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Richard, are you there?
There we go. I'm here.
Oh, good.
That was weird. Hey, somebody's trying to call me, so now I got to block him. Hopefully, I don't call back.
So apologies for that. Just to give you a heads up, we are in 3 different locations across the globe. Richard is being actually in an airport terminal right now, and that just goes to show the dedication which we've got to ensure that these eSellerCafe roundups do carry on as usual every single Monday at exactly the same time. So Richard, are you back with us now?
Yeah, I'm back. So let's start with the facts again, which is they, typically in the past, an e-commerce platform solution was that here's a way to list it, and then you looked at the listing and it was shit. That's the only way to explain it, because it just no templating. It was just really a bad listing. It was a simple way for you to take the data and move it to eBay. Well, what Shopify have done with eBay is to do something more on the line with M2E Pro, which is two-way sync of inventory. Also, it appears to be two-way sync of descriptions, etc., so on and so forth. So they've done a lot more in that. But there's one additional caveat that they've added, one additional thing they've added, which is that the messaging and the order processing is all done within Shopify. So everything now moves over, and if people have questions, those show up in your Shopify dashboard. So there's a very, very deep integration. I think this is probably the deepest we've ever seen, even from a plugin like WP Lister or M2E Pro, even taking a step beyond that, which obviously then begs the question, is there something to those Wall Street rumors that eBay is interested in purchasing Shopify? Now, we have to remember they've gone down this road before with Pro Stores and with Magento.
And Richard, that is exactly the point which I was going to bring up on this one. I'm almost want to say is eBay, please do not buy another company, because you have a long history of it being the best thing sliced bread, and then you just get rid of it. Pro Stores, prime example, Magento and M2E Pro. Magento itself, and then just keeping it around, not really knowing what to do with it because it's out of their area of expertise. And then
I'm with you. I agree that they should keep it separate. They should continue to work together, create a partnership. Do something like they're doing with PayPal, which is a partnership. But still keep everything separate, because that way both sides continue to innovate, because I think that's what happens. We've seen when they purchased Pro Stores innovation stopped. When they purchased Magento, it just sort of went on, but nothing. They never did much with it either. So that it'd be better to keep it separate. But I think it's an interesting development that those two are getting together like that.
Yeah, it's a positive sign. Dave, you've not said a single word yet. What's your thoughts on this? Do you feel that it's a positive thing? Do you feel that do you agree with me that perhaps please eBay don't buy it because you've got a bit of a history of not doing too great with third-party companies and then bringing them into the fold? Or do you think eBay should buy them? What do you think, Dave?
I find the timing hilarious on this, because literally on Thursday, me and you, Matt, were sat down, starting up a fresh Shopify account, looking at it properly for the first time, looking at its e-commerce capabilities. And our big thing back there on Thursday was there's no eBay integration. There's no, without using a third-party tool.
They're third parties, like, and again, I don't want to diss these, because I'm actually quite a big fan of InkFrog Open. Really straightforward, I've used that for a test account for one of the other businesses which I run, and yeah, it's great for simplicity. So, excuse me, but it is a third party. It's not a true integration within the actual app itself, and there's some imported tools that. So yeah, you're right. Thursday we were looking at this and going, eBay's been crap as far as the integration goes.
And that's it, because you ended up with a bill for like £400-500 software, which you didn't need, because Shopify did the orders, the integration stuff, and the inventory stuff. You were literally just using it for the eBay tie-in piece, and it was very expensive for that. And that was the downside for us on Thursday. And on Friday, I was going to record a video about looking at Shopify, and an hour before I went live, the news broke that eBay had just announced with Shopify that they were working on their own independent integration, and it would do inventory, orders, messages. It would do it all. And all of a sudden, Shopify just became a big contender in the market. I mean,
I'm actually going to just bring us down to reality here as well. The integration is there, but it's not being proven. It's not being used in anger by a large number of users. I would also personally, and again, take this from a software developer's point of view, is that I would let other people use the app for the first 2 months or so, maybe a little bit longer, and let them discover any undocumented features within the application itself, and then take a more serious look on it for Shopify. But
I can tell you this: I'm interested enough to actually try a test store that would be a live order taking test store, because I thought about this sitting here, last week or so, since last weekend, and it's like, this would be worth. I have a brand that I have in mind that I might try this with and see how it works, because it would be the only way to find out how well it works is to actually do it. And
literally, Richard, I was thinking exactly the same. I was over the weekend, I was thinking of some different product ideas. I was thinking, do I test this? Because I love how easy Shopify is to use. As a non-developer, it's fantastically simple. And I love it.
Dave, I just want to make this reference here. This is a fantastic conversation, because you've got 3 people coming at this from 3 different ways. So, Dave, you were saying Shopify is very, very simple to use.
Yeah, absolutely. I literally, we saw it, Matt, first time. I mean, I'd seen a Shopify dashboard before, but I'd never actually got hands-on with one and set up an account for real. And that's what we did. And it was easy. We importing, creating new products, importing products, assigning images to different variations. It was simple. I just got on with it. And then over the weekend, I was playing around in the back end. I was like, yeah, it makes sense. And then to find out that all of a sudden you could there's already an Amazon integration. So now there'll be an eBay integration. Shopify is, like, regardless of what you say, Matt, we get, new software and stuff, and it takes time. Regardless, it's coming. And yeah, no software is going to be perfect on release. Give them 6 months, 12 months. Shopify is going to be a hell of a threat to the likes of Magento, to, who else is there? I mean, Shopify is pretty much number 2 right now. In 12 months, who knows what could happen? The only limitation for me is it's US only, in US dollars only. That's the biggest problem with the integration as it stands right now. Until they roll it out for the world, including all the eBay sites, including all the Amazon sites, including all the different currencies, to have that edge. And M2E will always have that edge. But when they do that, Magento's in problems.
And this is why. Sorry, Richard.
Canadian company. That's the funny part about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, this is why I was so excited about this conversation, because we actually looked at Shopify, and I actually walked away from Shopify with dissimilar, conflicting views on it, which was that WordPress and WooCommerce and WP Lister was more flexible, cheaper, and already had the marketplace integrations available. And over the period of a year, minimum, the Shopify store, and again, price is always a big one for me, $360 approximately, assuming it's $30 a month, and then 2% of sales, which was the bit which I didn't actually like about Shopify, that they would charge a percentage of sale is if you used, well, it was on par with PayPal if you use their internal payment gateway, but to be honest, you probably want to use PayPal, and they'll charge you, you'll get charged by PayPal at your normal transaction fee, which is to be expected, but Shopify would charge you the 2%. So on one hand, I'm excited. It's really nice to see that eBay is shouting about this integration now with Shopify. The reality is it's going to take several months to actually take effect. It's only US only, like you mentioned a few moments ago. And from the bit which I took away from this, and again, I don't want to just put down this announcement, is that for me personally, the reality was WordPress, WooCommerce, and then a tool like WP Lister is already proven, and it works out an awful lot cheaper. And again, the bit for me, which was perhaps like Dave, many may or may not know, we run a business called Understanding E. We do e-commerce education tutorials. And one of the bits which was holding us back on that was the import and export tool not really being in WooCommerce. And that's the thing, WooCommerce version 3.1 actually integrated into the app itself now. Very good, positive. I think that's probably one of the best examples of a company buying another company, which was Automatic, which will make WordPress, bought WooCommerce and their apps, etc. And yeah, it's only got better, and it's got better faster with another company buying it. So that's actually a really good example where inside expertise, because it's WordPress buying WooCommerce, so they knew the plugin really, really well. Things have progressed on really, really well. So Dave, I know you took away that you really, really liked it.
I think it's interesting because we come from two different backgrounds on this. You developer friendly. So the concept for you, setting up domain names, getting involved with hosting, CNAME changes and all that stuff is second nature to you. To me, that's the nerdy stuff I don't really want to get involved with. And that is Shopify's biggest thing, is that.
But you still do need to get in and change your CNAME alias. And again,
no, they do it for you. They do it for you. Shopify, if you're a paying customer, has 24-hour support. That is huge, and that is a huge thing which the likes of WordPress and Magento can't compete.
Don't have and don't compete with, absolutely. So it's horses for courses. You're absolutely right. It's different.
If you're simple like me, then Shopify answers a lot of questions for you. But if you want the flexibility that Matt is used to, being a developer and being, you're going to find Shopify limited in what you can get hands-on with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I kind of going to take the middle road on this, because I have sometimes feelings that I want some developer stuff, and then I'm also sit there and go like, okay, I want this as simple as possible. Mm-hmm. The entry of the barrier of entry is always an important part. It's like the easier you can make the lower you can make that barrier, the more people you can get on it. If Shopify already, BigCommerce and Shopify are kind of now fighting for that lower barrier of entry, because they have the SaaS platforms, the software as a service platforms. So you don't have to deal with their hosting company. You have to do all these things so on. So that makes it nice and simple. And it seems Shopify, they've worked on a lot more integrations, because I put in the article, Wish, Amazon, others, whether a third party or not, whatever the case is, they exist. Now, BigCommerce has them as well, but if Shopify makes them better, then people are going to go to Shopify. And there have been a few other things they've tweaked on. They've tweaked the dashboard over the last couple of months. There was something over the weekend, to be honest, off the top of my head, I can't remember. There was something else they tweaked over the weekend. So I got to the point thinking, I want to open up a Shopify account for no other reason but to see how it works. And I have a couple brands that I could throw up there and to educate myself, because if it is a system that can be very easy to use and can actually expand into, multi-channel, why not? I
Absolutely.
do agree the flexibility is still with Magento and M2E Pro, but for the average person that's trying to get into this game,
Totally agree.
That's the biggest worry, is that we've always said convenience always wins. That's Shopify's target right now, is to make it no-brainer simple.
Yep.
So there you go. That is a curious one to watch over. Another one to one of those different scenarios, past, present, and future. That is one to be watched over the future. Like I said, it is still very new. Hasn't actually been released yet. I believe that's correct. So
It's fall 2017.
Yeah. So it's not believing in your interest to do it before Christmas,
No, definitely not do that.
Definitely don't do that before Christmas period. So maybe something to look at in the new year. Right, so just quickly recap what we've been and covered here today with you. Just quickly run down the articles. We've got VAT services coming to EU sellers. Remember, there was a note there. If you are a bigger business, you might want to ask that second question. Do you really want eBay at Amazon to see your sales data? Think about that one seriously. Dave, there was a topic which you covered about the Samsung and Alibaba to develop smart speakers. More eBay millionaires in the UK and EU. Remember, the two big sites is the United Kingdom and Germany. So take that. If you are based in the United States, take that away. Is the English to English is probably, so the UK site is the place for you to probably focus on rather than trying to learn German for cross-border trade. We heard about Amazon Prime Day. What was it, 60% bigger than last time, Dave?
Absolutely. Yep, 6% increase in sales.
60% increase. If you want your website translated for free and loads of other cool stuff as well, looks like PayPal has an offer on the moment. Remember, the links to all these articles are in the video description. They will translate your site for free. Just complete no-brainer. Go and take a look at that one. Like I said, the links are in the video description. We had two notes about Taobao as well. And the last one, eBay announcing a decent, by the looks of it, a decent integration with Shopify, but there's nothing actually going out right now, and it won't be out until autumn of this year. So fingers crossed it works well. And on a serious point, don't touch it with a 10-foot barge pole until after Christmas, because Christmas time, it is not the best time of the year for you to be changing anything in your business. Just focus upon selling rather than software, if that makes sense.
Of course, if you're in a bikini business, then Christmas will be a good time.
Oh yeah, perfect. Unless you're based in Australia, which have the complete reverse sales. So with that said, from myself, Matt, Richard, who, and again, thanks to Richard joining us again, it just shows the dedication to these eSellerCafe live chats, for joining us live from the airport departure lounge as well. Thank you, Richard.
Welcome. I enjoyed it. It's fun to do these things, no matter where we're at. It's like you keep coming up with crazier places to do them from. I'll be actually a crazy place next week called home.
It's a rarity for you, mate.
Yeah, I haven't seen that place in a while.
Absolutely. And Dave, thank you for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So like we said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this live edition of the eSellerCafe News Roundup. We do hold these every single week, same time. The next week's will go live on next Monday, and links to all the articles are in the video description down below. If you've enjoyed this episode, hit the thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments about anything which has been discussed here, you can leave us a comment either underneath this video or across on eSellerCafe.com. And on that note, for myself, Matt, and of course, Richard and Dave too, thank you. We'll see you next week. Cheerio.
Cheerios. Bye-bye.